All right, we're live. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Look Mum, I'm Hustling
podcast.
Maybe Look Mum, I'm Hostile podcast.
Could be. I mean, we're in that kind of climate at the moment. But hey, that's us. That's what we're doing. This is a podcast, so you got that part right, which is good.
Episode 89 today, or this week, which is pretty interesting. I was looking at the YouTube app earlier.
Yeah.
That's where we primarily focus the podcast uploads. Obviously, you can listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Appreciate all listeners, regardless of whatever application you're tuning in from.
Yeah.
When we had a hiatus last year, we started on, we came back from the hiatus on the 19th of October, and today's the 22nd. So technically, we've been going for a whole year with no breaks, which is very unusual for us. It's a big milestone to maintain something for a year straight, which is pretty incredible. So just wanted to give ourselves a little
pat on the back.
Shout out, a little pat on the back.
Yeah, we love talking about our milestones anyway.
Yeah, I think if we searched hard enough, every week there'll be some milestone. I mean, there's worse things to focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, another milestone that we've acknowledged.
Yeah, but it's pretty awesome because I remember when we first came back from a hiatus, and I think we've mentioned this before, where we were determined to not take a break, but like that year went so fast, and we launched it with a reaction to like Blink 182, and then Blink 182 released a new album.
Nice little.
This year as well. I mean, not this year, this week.
This week, 2 days ago. Oh, yes. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Nice little pulling of, I know I got nothing to add there. Nice little weaving of topics, I guess I would say. Yeah, new album. That was pretty cool. Haven't really listened to it that much, but.
Yeah, I've listened to it on like maybe 2 rotations. There's some really sad songs in there, and I'm just like, just listening to it. So
they're in their late 40s and early 50s now, so it's, it's when death starts approaching.
But it's even after the first listen, because you know how sometimes albums are growers, or you sort of know you're going to like it. Like, it's pretty catchy to begin with. I don't see myself not liking it, kind of thing. Because I know a lot of times when artists take a big break, or the older artists will release albums, they tend to be not the best. Like, I don't know, Panic at the Disco, they release new music and you're just like, oh, it's okay.
Well, they did the day before they did a release. So what was that, last Thursday? They did an hour-long interview with Zane Lowe, the, I guess, music interviewer. He's been doing it for like 25 years.
Like
he actually interviewed them in like 1999 in the UK.
Oh, really?
Or 2000 maybe. But because they're so big in terms of, that early 2000s era and in the genre of punk, there's not many bands that are selling out the size arenas that they are. So in the interview, they were kind of touching on that. Like, most bands at their age, not in terms of their actual age, but in terms of the age of the band, they start phoning it in. Not many will have produce their best album that far in.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because they're able to do that because they've gone through so many little mini hiatuses and changes and stuff, but also as band members, the fans know a lot about them compared to other bands, just because those 3 members have all done so many different things over the years.
Yeah, true.
Whereas most bands, you might know the singer, you don't really know that much about the drummer's life. So in that regard, it's kind of interesting because they've been around for like 30 years now, and I mean, every brand says it's their best album ever, but when the reviews and stuff are kind of
actually pretty decent,
like saying that as well, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, most bands sort of, phoned it in at that time, in that far into their career, maybe whether consciously or subconsciously, like who knows. But everyone thinks that their latest thing is their greatest thing. But it's very rarely actually the case.
No, and you take like another similar like 3-person group, just say the Green Day, right? And you don't really know anything about them as people and kind of what they're doing, whether it's, I don't know, maybe because they've all been through their really, really serious things, or they have like something they're like super well known for. Like Travis Barker is like an amazing drummer. Like there was that epic plane crash and, dating a Kardashian. So it's kind of like they're always, not always, but they've got these points that people remember about them.
Which is, I guess, they probably get a lot of hate, but there's so much love and nostalgia with them.
Yeah. And just pure talent, really.
They're not, I mean, Travis Barker's talented. The other 2 are like good songwriters, but they're not crazy instruments. They're like crazy at the instruments. But like they're kind of considered to a degree like sellouts because they're so popular and so mainstream, and they'll at the forefront of doing like MTV and TRL type shows back in the 2000s and being, I guess, like widespread radio play for a punk band.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that's one aspect. But then, the celebrity aspect. I mean, way back in the day, Travis Barker had a reality TV show in the early 2000s called Meet the Barkers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So with his second wife, who's the mother of his kids.
Yeah.
2005, 2 seasons. And it was kind of like a Keeping Up with Kardashians type show.
Ah, gotcha.
So in terms of, I mean, that you can kind of consider that selling out to a degree in terms of just documenting your life.
Yeah.
And then he's also been in a bunch of side projects. He did Transplants with Tim Armstrong from Rancid.
And he's done a whole bunch of hip-hop stuff as well.
He's done heaps of hip-hop stuff. I was listening to yesterday. I mean, this 2005 era was like peak when I was deep into this stuff. He had a solo album called Can the Drummer Get Some? So it was basically
Wasn't it like an instrumentally kind of album?
It was just two 2006.
Yeah.
So that's 17 years ago. It would have been like 30 then.
All
so
right.
that's kind of why you know more about him, because he's not just a drummer in a band. He's been on TVs and stuff forever. He's a very quiet dude. In the interview from the other day, he's always been a quiet dude.
Well, he's like, drummers usually don't like the spotlight anyway. They just
He
like
doesn't like the spotlight, but I guess he just is there. He's just amongst it. Like he's done heaps of songs with Kanye, everything like that. He has back in the day, or he still has now, famous Stars and Straps. You know, he's very entrepreneurial in that aspect. He's got a bunch of different brands. He's got Barker Wellness that does like CBD type ointments and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the other two are just doing their own things as well. Mark Hoppus is probably the least famous out of them because he's not in the, I guess, celebrity sphere.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom DeLonge for the last 10 years has been chasing aliens.
Yeah.
And they've all done their own different side projects. But my main point is, you know them all so much more than most bands. So there's way more of a connection there. And now that they're back together,
it's
just
everybody's like fangirling.
It's just like
just
2000s all over again, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the fact to follow it up with a really decent album it's awesome. It's good.
Really decent.
Really decent.
Is that what you're going to...
I don't know.
That's why you listen to it a few more times.
Yeah, I really like it so far though.
So yeah, all that to say we've done 12 months.
I know. Us and our tangents, And yeah, we get to go see them next year, which will be really exciting.
Pretty good. Unless something happens.
Yeah, hopefully not. Knock on wood. Knock on fake wood.
Well, Travis Barker had that plane crash and was basically, rightfully so, too afraid to fly anywhere.
I know.
And then I believe, which Kardashian is with? Courtney,
the eldest sister.
Is, I guess, got him into like therapy or something to overcome that fear. And that's why they can tour globally now. And they're coming back to Australia in February. But the last couple of times they've come back, there's always been problems. Like he couldn't fly. They had to get a replacement drummer. Like everyone bought tickets. I think it was the Big Day Out tour. They were going to play. And everyone assumed he was going to come. And then literally a week before they came, he just couldn't get on the plane and had to have a filling drummer.
Well, like I
everyone was very
completely understand. Like,
understandable, but everyone was disappointed.
Yeah. But
So-
they also haven't been in a plane crash. So,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're losing one of your best friends.
Yeah.
So he
Very
had
traumatizing.
3rd-degree burns
Yeah.
all over.
Very traumatizing.
So fingers crossed it all goes ahead. The tour's been, I think they just finished their Europe tour and are back in the US now. So hopefully the February one goes ahead, but they're playing so many shows.
It's a world tour, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, they don't go everywhere.
No, but like to all the
They're not going to like Sri Lanka.
no, maybe you could have a fan base there, but they'll be doing, obviously all around America, Canada, UK, Europe. I'm assuming Japan because there's a big punk base in Japan as well.
Yep.
Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah,
Mm.
it is.
I'd probably say New Zealand.
So yeah, we bought tickets stressing out that it was gonna.
But they done small shows because it's, of course.
So they're doing Sydney. They're doing 4 shows across 2 weekends. So they're basically doing 1 week and then coming back and circling back around again to fulfill those second weeks.
Gotcha.
So it should be interesting. So 4 shows, 6, 5 shows in Sydney. That's
Yeah.
11.
Which one did we get?
I have no idea.
Yeah, one of them.
14, 15. So 15 shows in 2 weeks. Oh, yeah,
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
You have to be, for older artists and musicians and stuff, especially ones this high energy, you'd have to be pretty fit to be able to keep up with it. Like you don't see them sort of just standing around, like they're going to be moving across the stage and everything.
Yeah, I mean, depends on. They don't move around heaps. Travis Barker does a lot.
Yeah.
I've played drums for a little bit in school band, but he exaggerates a lot of his movements. It's not just like tinkering around
He
on
needs
drums.
some good cardio to play drums.
He's just, he swings his arms more than necessary because he wants to make an impact. Have you ever seen his knuckles at the end of a show?
No.
Jesus.
Like swollen?
No,
or?
every knuckle will just be bleeding.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like how can you, is it just from the cymbals and stuff, like whacking them? And...
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
just smash.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is all the time. Every show, his knuckles are just
Ow!
This is from last week.
Sorry guys, this is a bit of a gross content warning for this one if you don't want to watch it.
All the
That's
time.
insane.
Yeah, all you gotta do is smash it at the slightly wrong angle
Yeah.
or have one knuckle protruding a little bit further.
I can't handle that stuff, man.
But he's broken heaps of different limbs and stuff before, but he always plays. That's what's crazy. He did a tour with one ankle or 1 foot.
Yeah. Must have been when he broke it or something, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if he broke it in Sydney or not.
Mhm.
But he did the whole tour of his leg in a cast.
What a...
So do you know how to play drums? You obviously 1 foot's on the bass drum and then another one's usually to open and close the hi-hat.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that would be?
Yeah, of course. And you need insane hand-eye coordination, using all 4 limbs to...
He could play with his eyes closed though. That's what I was reading because he's done it so many times. But it's more moving your leg from left to right between the hi-hat pedal and the kick drum.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, not many people would just, basically learn how to play the entire set with, 25% less limbs to use. So interesting stuff.
Well, the fact that he would play hurt and then not fly on a plane would say it would be a big thing, right? If he's happy to play injured, then it would have to be a big thing stopping him for not being able to play.
Yeah, well, I guess it's physical versus mental.
Yeah.
So
it's cute.
Yeah, 2000s all over again.
Yeah. And I think we said this before, 2000s have definitely made a resurgence. Emo is back, the clothing and all that kind of stuff.
You see those funny tweets, or I guess you call them X's now, which is oh, it's a great weekend. I just picked up my new Blink-182 CD and going to buy the new Mario and Spider-Man game. Nothing's changed. It's we've been in this this limbo state for 20 years.
So true, yeah.
It's good times though. I'm enjoying it.
That's good. Need some little lightheartedness in these days. But yeah, Spider-Man's apparently really good, and so is Mario, so everyone's loving that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Mario,
we don't have a console, so we ain't nobody got time for that.
haven't even seen the Mario movie. Probably won't. I don't think I'd ever. Maybe.
Oh, for some reason, I was like, you haven't seen that live action one? The one from like the 90s. So good. But you're talking about the one with like Jack Black plays Bowser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do
you feel weird watching like cartoons and kid movies?
Honestly, I'm riddled with guilt for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And probably should see a therapist about it. Realistically, like I feel guilty over some dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if I like watch a Super Mario movie, I'll feel guilty that I'm like not learning something.
Right. Is that why you've just been watching documentaries lately?
I've always watched, that's my main thing.
I know. But like,
I used to be love sci-fi, and I still like it, but
there hasn't been, and this is the last good sci-fi thing we've watched was Silo, I would say.
Yeah, it was my main thing, and it's just, I don't know, it's hard to get into it lately. I don't know if there's just no good shows, or I just don't have the time to watch a 10-part series. Like there's all these good ones, like apparently like Expanse, that came out ages ago. All those sort of ones are good, but it's kind of just like boring. I'd rather watch a big blockbuster like June and just knock it out and then move on. But yeah, documentaries has always been my preferred thing, whether even if it's just a music doco, like Blink docos, Newfound Glory docos back in the day were like my shit. That's all I used to watch.
Music. So you sort of like started off with music documentaries and sort of expanded into...
They weren't even documentaries. It was more, they were basically hour-long vlogs of the band on tour.
Yeah, true. Like I think drive-through records and those kind of like videos and stuff. But now because you're older, you're watching history documentaries.
Yes.
It's the thing. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I'm not that into the Roman stuff, to be honest.
Have you seen that meme go around?
What?
That girls ask guys, it's like, how often do guys think about the Roman Empire? And it's at least once a day.
Oh, there's a good Roman Empire, not that much. Because there's a lot to learn. It's such a long time period and so many different emperors and stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's...
The Mongols you think about
I like
at least
jumping
once a day,
all
right?
over the place and then trying to put the timeline together in my head as opposed to just watching Rome from 0 to 100. I want to watch a bit about this region, and kind of piece it all together in my head. But in terms of like a meme, there's a heaps funny skit. Well, not heaps funny. I thought it was funny, but it's very on point. From what are they called? Inspired Unemployed, or the other way around?
Uninspired Unemployed. No, Inspired Unemployed, I think they're called. Have to be.
This is a funny one. You'll enjoy it. If you're just listening, then perhaps watch, but I'll see if I can.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of these guys, you might have seen their like sports betting ads with Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, if you're in Australia, you may have.
Yeah.
They're just like a...
They start off like
Group.
Instagram,
This one's funny.
All right, I'll switch it over.
Hang on.
See if we can get some audio.
Good job today.
Good stuff. Thanks, Sarah.
So hang on, I've got to preface it. So it's just a couple of guys and a girl sitting in an office at a meeting, and it says every time, it's sort of the preface to the joke. It's the setup. It says every time a female leaves the room,
Cross something about it today?
Yeah, cool.
Thanks.
Right. Have a good one.
the chick leaves.
Oh, yes. Roman Empire. You two are waiting to talk about this all day. Do you want to start on the aqueducts? The aqueducts. Fuck me.
As if they were not ahead of their time.
How can you make infrastructure like that? That's just the road.
So it's basically like every time a chick leaves, you know, you just assume they're going to be like, oh, she's got a great ass, or she's so hot, or whatever, and then just what they're busting to talk about.
The Roman Empire. Oh man, but you know, it's one of those things that I guess it's just like that whole history thing. Like dudes just like talking about like badass like history people, you know. Or it's like, you know, when you think about like plumbing, I was like, oh, that was from the Roman Empire.
Well, it's just like there's only so much sports talk you want to talk about, or you know, I feel like no one really cared about it when I was growing up. Maybe it's always been a thing. Maybe
my
you just
brother
get into
loves
those 30s and you're like, oh, I want to learn about history and how we got here, and you know, the 1,000 years leading up to this point, like what got us to this stage of civilization.
Unless the people are just thinking, because like my brother loved it growing up, it's only because he played like Age of Empires and like Risk and stuff. Like he loved those strategy games.
I love both of those things. Age of Empires was a game I played very frequently for a couple of years there, and never really cared about the actual events that took place.
Yeah, he's just like, I want to win.
Yeah. Used to love good SimCity. SimCity.
And
dope.
as like all my girlfriends loved The Sims and would play The Sims and make families.
We're not even going to like try and equate those two.
No, I'm just saying I never got into The Sims. The most I ever played of Sims was like Sims Golf demo version. I used to build golf courses.
Yeah, SimCity was completely different though.
Because it would be you're more like city planning, right, and street planning and
Sims
stuff.
was cool for a little bit.
Yeah,
but SimCity, sheesh, that was a good game.
Need to make good roads and blocks and
then there was actually another game called Civilization. I got pretty addicted to.
I know that one. Yeah,
I think it was on PS3 that I was playing.
It's on PC.
That was hard. That was hard though. That was just like obviously just a super advanced version of SimCity with more. You don't have to bring it up. More realistic.
Like antidotes and stuff.
Oh, weaponry and buildings and architecture.
Fair enough. Interesting.
Sid Meier's Civilization. Back when I had time to play video games.
No time now. Because we're all focusing on the business, the hustle, doing our YouTubes. Actually, speaking of YouTubes.
Oh my God. Yep.
Hey, I'm allowed to do a segue.
No, it was good for me. I could tell it was forced.
Right.
But the listener, I pretty ruined the flow there because
you're like,
just like, it was good.
That's all right. Well, I just wanted to.
It was a 7 out of 10 segue.
Okay, thank you.
You haven't got there yet, but.
No, I know. YouTube has some really good updates recently.
Really? Do tell.
Well, they've got some
for creators.
Yeah, for creators.
The viewers are just getting the same thing.
No. So, like, everyone might have, if you watch YouTube or whatever on a regular basis, you might have opened up your app the other day and it came up with what's new, and you just swipe through really quickly without even reading it to get into like the videos that you want to watch. But yeah, they've got a couple of updates and things just for creators to help engagement and, you know, getting in touch with their audiences and stuff, which is cute.
It's interesting because we're so far, like, YouTube's been around for almost 20 years or something now. And it's gotten to the point where you kind of question how much more can they add? How much more innovation, efficiency can they, like, how can they spice up the app? Because there's always these different generations of creators, and actually have an interesting article we can go into in terms of the progress in terms of the type of content that's been made on the platform, on what's been the most popular type of trend in terms of what type of videos are made for the last 15, 18 years. But other than relying on creators to push the boundaries, it's kind of like, what else can you do with the app? And now there's a few more updates, and it just goes to show that there's a lot more to add across the board. It just takes time to work out the kinks and make things that a little bit better, a little 1% better. So this is an article, like you said, from YouTube themselves, some new features for creators. So if you're listening and you're a hustler and you're a creator, then obviously, thank you for listening. Welcome. You might find some interesting info here. If you're a creator and you're not on YouTube, I'd be curious to know why you choose other platforms and not YouTube, because it's definitely got the most searchability and
reach,
widespread reach. And then you have the creator program where you can actually make a few bucks here and there.
Yeah.
So for creators, this would be some interesting info, but then also just for viewers of YouTube content, it might be interesting to see how YouTube thinks about giving more value to the creators and just looking at it from the other side of the fence. So the article is titled "From Your Phone to the TV, Get a Taste of the Latest YouTube Updates." So last week they launched a new look and feel for YouTube, adding more modern design elements and features that helped viewers feel more immersed.
And it's good that they do that as well. Alas, it's just going to keep looking like that old school layout. So you want to keep it fresh looking.
So one feature this is for the viewers specifically, they've added in a stable volume toggle button. So you can essentially turn this on and off so it evens out the volume of the episode. So you literally edited a video the other week and I was showing you how to do match clip loudness to remove the high points and put the volume up on the lower volume points and sort of even the volume out. Because you know when you watch a movie and there's just like a explosion or gunfight and then the next scene is people whispering, this is a tool that's designed to even out the volume, so you're not adjusting your volume up and down all the time.
No, that's really good. Yeah, because free to air used to do the same thing, right? You'd be watching it and you just have to like dialogue, so you turned it up, and then the ads come in. It's like, Grr! You
would hope that the creator knows how to match clip loudness and manage those things, but obviously not all
always
do.
Yeah.
So this is a tool, gives a little bit of control back to the viewer if they feel like the volume is not stable.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
Mhm.
Another feature for the viewer, maybe these are all for the viewers. Anyway, you can press and hold to double the speed now. So instead of going into the settings toggle
Playback
and
speed.
changing the playback speed to 2, you can actually just hold to the right of the screen. Normally where you double click to skip 10 seconds forward, you can actually hold that in and it's a fast forward button. The longer as you hold it fast forwards.
Okay. That's handy.
Yep. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
You can skip with ease. So to help
Seek
find
with ease?
seek with ease, sorry. I'm not really on the ball today. To help you find the best moments in videos, we're launching bigger preview thumbnails while you seek, or while you scan the playback bar, which will make it easier to change your mind if you start seeking and need to go back, move your finger. So basically, as you're fast forwarding, it'll have like a little thumbnail within the video itself, which is basically a thumbnail for that chapter of the video.
Gotcha.
And you can just sort of see where you're up to. I don't know, if you have segments for a show and that type of thing, maybe you want, I don't know, sports and then the news and then...
Well, they've got an example of a cooking video, so that'll be super handy if you want to like skip and just see.
Just go from ingredients to the actual instructions.
Yes.
Good point. That's a better way of describing it. You can avoid interruptions with lock screen. So I don't think this is that useful. You can basically just lock the entire screen as a viewer, so you can't adjust anything. Or
No, this would be handy for me because sometimes when I'm watching I'm just touching the screen or whatever, and then we'll jump out into another video. I'm just like, oh, and then I have to go back I have to go into my history, find where I was, re-click the video, and go back into it.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
yeah, because I know you watch mainly a lot of YouTube on your computer and iPad and stuff. You don't really watch a lot of it on your phone.
Honestly, 50-50.
Yeah, most
A
of
lot of the time it's been zooming in a lot, which is
okay.
annoying because you've got to zoom back out. So I guess
Mhm.
that would help. I mean, it wouldn't hurt having that tool and that feature there. So you can lock screen for viewers. Sarah finds it useful. Perhaps you will as well.
That'll be good for kids as well. So if you're putting a video on for your kid on an iPad, then they can't touch the screen and go into anything else either.
Fair enough.
Mm.
That makes sense. You can find out what you're looking for to make it more intuitive to find all your YouTube stuff in one place. The library tab and account page have been merged into a new home tab. So basically your home feed it looks way more refined, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So you can have different rows of videos. So history you recently watched, playlists that you like watching, all that sort of stuff. So just a more refined approach for your home screen. Very cool. You can search by voice or song. So it's essentially incorporating Shazam into the search tool.
I've read something. I just saw a headline. I think Google or YouTube own Shazam, and they might be phasing out Shazam.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. So obviously YouTube, the second biggest
Like search platform. Yes. Yeah, you're nodding at me, looking at me weird.
the words just aren't coming to me today.
That's all right.
I think I've been up for too long today.
It's all
Got
good.
up at 4 o'clock to watch
I know,
the
to
UFC.
watch your bloody UFC and Volkanovski. But yeah, so like YouTube's the second biggest search engine, so it kind of makes sense they're going to incorporate these other
voice
search platforms, and Shazam's one of the better ones out there. It was so good. I used to use it all the time, and you're like, what is this cool song playing? And then you listen, it tells you what it is. And then it started linking you out into either iTunes or Spotify, so it started integrating other stuff, so you could link into it, buy the song, or listen to it on a different platform. So,
and most bands now, even like talking about Blink, they release the whole album on YouTube. A lot of the time, if they don't have a music video ready to go, they release it as a lyric video, so it's just a still image with the lyrics coming up. So it makes sense if Google owns Shazam now to just filter them into listening to the song on their platform as opposed to their rivals, iTunes, Spotify, and that sort of thing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Google owns Shazam.
We're just gonna for the purpose of this conversation.
So if I'm wrong, like I usually am, don't hold it against me.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've got a couple $1 billion.
Well, I did say football wasn't big, so
I know. Not big enough for us. Not big enough for us to acknowledge.
To me, it wasn't big to me.
Another feature is that connects viewers with creators through a cleaner, more modern design. So animations that celebrate meaningful moments. So now when you're watching on the web or mobile, the page may react to what a creator says. So if a creator says something like the words like or subscribe, a visual cue on those buttons will appear comes up on the subscribe button. It's a pretty cool idea. I don't know who would have thought about that.
No. It just creates again, it's the whole, instead of just having a page that you're going to, it's almost like creating a bit of like an atmosphere around it. So a bit more of not a vibe, but you're just trying to.
I don't think people even notice half the time. It's just something that you probably just don't consider, you know?
Yeah. And visual cues always work in advertising and things like that, whether it's subliminal or not. But it's just one of those things that's that little extra level of helping out to not make them do something, but to remind them to do something if you like what it is that you're watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Just in the automation aspect that's just linked.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems so simple in terms of just you say the word, the YouTube just has the caption or the automatic subtitles for the video and just sends a response to do the animation. Very cool, I think. Another thing is top comments will automatically rotate, so you can scan the best commentary from the community tab from the community. Sorry. So basically, rather than having a static main comment when you're watching a video, it'll rotate through a few of them.
Oh.
So instead of you scrolling through, it'll just automatically show them. So it's just creating. We've talked about this. We make videos, not many, but we do make them. The whole thing about YouTube is click-through rate and retention, getting people to stay on the app as long as possible. And it's almost like YouTube are creating ways to keep viewers engaged and take the pressure off the creator just a tiny bit in case it is a stale or boring moment in the video. There's other things that are happening and moving on the screen to keep the viewer there for longer.
Yeah, making it work for you rather than you working for them.
So that's kind of cool. And view count and count in real time for the first 24 hours, which I thought it was already a thing.
Yeah. Maybe it's a thing on YouTube Studio, but now you'll be able to see it on actual YouTube potentially.
They've been modernizing the YouTube experience on smart TVs, now adding a few more touches to make it easier to navigate videos on smart TVs. Viewers can find details about a video they are watching in a new vertical menu that enables quicker access to features such as description, comments, and subscribe button. So just obviously the push for TV consumption.
Yeah. And we've talked about this several times about the eventuality of these things being on the big screen and just needing to have that better experience on there, like being less clunky, you know, being able to shop from your TV and all that kind of thing. So it seems like this is like step one for the TV, not step one, but this is a way to get people more engaged on the big screen.
Yeah. Just makes things a little simpler all around. So they're the main things that they're adding in, which is very cool. I'm enjoying them.
That's nice.
Or I will enjoy them rather.
Yeah. And for such a big platform as well, it's kind of interesting that they are thinking of little ways to improve. Even if it seems little, it's more of the one where they want to continue to improve the experience for not only the viewer, but also the creator and not just staying stagnant. They're trying to keep ahead because even if they are the second biggest, if they don't continuously try to innovate or change, 10 years down the track, someone can just overtake them.
Well, that's what we were saying about the artists before, right? It's very easy when you're dominating to kind of phone it in or not focus on improving if it's not necessary. There's no competitor that's really fighting for market share at all. So they don't have to do any of this, but they're just doing it because, like you said, it's just getting them one step further. It's just making it harder and harder for anyone else to enter the market. Especially, we've talked about the automatic dubbing features, like all these little things are just solidifying how big and how powerful YouTube is as a platform. We already know, we already use it all day long. Everyone does. but it's like they just keep making it better and better and better. Like it's hard to hate on YouTube.
Well,
I mean, they do filter, censor a bunch of words and things, you know, in news stuff. So in that regard, you can. I mean, there's two sides to every story.
Oh, of course. And
there's where else are you going to go? Where are you going to get that type of reach?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah, it's almost, and like with every big platform, you're going to have your downsides and everything, but it's more good than bad, I suppose.
So speaking of YouTube and their continual progress to innovate, you can bring this up on the screen if you want. It's just an interesting concept that this guy Jay Auto, I think he's a YouTube or thumbnail expert on X or Twitter, kind of posed this theory about the different eras or generations of YouTubers.
Oh yeah.
And like I was saying just earlier, YouTube relies on the creators to do a certain amount to keep it fresh and innovative, and then obviously, like we just showed you, YouTube are doing their part to make it better as well. But this is more how YouTube has sort of evolved over the generation. So if you're just listening, I'll read it out. If you're watching, you should be able to see it on the screen here. The tweet or the X thread, I guess you would call it, is titled The Evolution of YouTube, 2005 to 2006, the experimental era. Me at the Zoo, which was the first video.
Ah, okay.
So it's just
Someone
some place to upload something, random home videos, clips.
That's right.
No idea about story or structure or thumbnails or editing or production. It was just...
You'd upload it and be able to share it with your family
upload,
members and,
exactly.
or whatever it is.
Experimental era, first 2 years. 2006 to 2008, viral era. Charlie Bit My Finger.
Remember that one? And there was heaps of like viral, like dances through the ages. I remember that dude went viral. Yeah.
So again, kind of similar. There's no serious thought process behind making a video or producing a video or scripting a video or having a 3-part act necessarily. It was just, again, more kind of home video style, but with the virality because people started sharing it onto Facebook and things like that.
Yes, yeah. So it was more of that sharing aspect.
Well, that's when the other social medias started getting bigger. Twitter and Facebook started coming on board, and that's when the sharing, the virality sort of took over. 2008 to 2011, probably the era I missed. The skit era, the Smosh era.
This was me. I loved Smosh. I remember being at work and I mentioned the word Smosh and someone turns around and be like, oh, you know who Smosh are as well? I was like, yeah, we became like best friends because of it. Yeah. Like,
so that was when Vine was around?
I think so, potentially.
Because I missed the entire Vine.
They had like a Pokemon skit that went off. Like it was really, really funny.
So Vine launched 2013. So roughly the same time. The only thing I remember watching on YouTube, distinctly remember watching in that kind of time frame was Kimbo Slice.
Right, I don't know who that is.
He's just he passed away, unfortunately. He's just a backyard fighter.
Oh, you know why I know like Smosh was probably more popular with girls is because the dudes looked a little bit emo and one of the guys was very handsome, Anthony from Smosh. Anthony from Smosh.
This is all I remember from that era. It's just Kimbo.
Oh, you talked about these are the street fight dudes.
Well, then he went into the UFC as well. He went on Ultimate Fighter.
Oh my God, he is jacked.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody hell. Is that Mr. T?
No, it's Kimbo Slice.
Oh, sorry, I just saw the gold chain and the big beard.
That's the only thing I remember like searching and constantly watching.
Yeah.
Was Kimbo Slice videos in that era. It might have even been before that period.
Just quickly search like Smosh and Pokemon and it might jog your memory. Pokemon. Yeah, that's the original one.
Didn't watch it.
See how they look like two emo dudes?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that whole era. I missed it.
Yeah, so just heaps of like funny little skits and stuff. So this was like very much the drive-through record, just being like funny and goofy and yeah.
Yeah. I know about that's there's a bunch of them, right?
Skit was very MySpace as well.
Right. Yeah. I missed that entire era.
Yeah.
So that was 2008 to 2011. 2011 to 2015 is kind of where I came back in.
Yeah.
Personality era, PewDiePie. That's when I don't know if Logan Paul and stuff were around then, but that's more like an individual creator and building their own community.
And I think this is where the like gameplay started to make a huge rise as well. Like people used to watch, like PewDiePie became his pop because he used to do run through of like games and stuff. And like that's when how Mr. Beast kind of like sort of started out as well. But that's where people just started voyeurism. Yeah, and just like watching people play games and then them playing with their friends and everything as well. And that sort of people's personality started to shine through with that because it'd be funny, reacting, all that kind of thing. And then they'll start making their own content.
Right. So the first two eras were more home video style. Smosh was more
starting for YouTube, like making it for YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, making it to
then potentially go viral. And then PewDiePie era was more personality driven in terms of
like connecting to an audience.
Connecting and having, I guess, niche. Like Smoshes and skits is not really, you're not showing your personality or building a community around you and your thing. It's you acting and trying to create something funny that people are going to react to, as opposed to connection.
Or no, just being famous for being yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
being you.
Basically being a niche.
Yeah.
Starting kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it differently. And then after the 2011 to 2015 era, we have the 2015 to 2018 era, the connection era, the Casey Neistat era.
The vlog era.
The vlog era. And then the current era is 2018 to 2023. The Mr. Beast sensationalism era.
It's just interesting they did leave off the Paul brothers because they were quite huge. That was like the prank.
Well, they're only putting in the biggest person at the time.
Would they be part of the sensational era then?
Well, this is what's interesting. This is just highlighting who the main creator is at that time.
Who was dominating YouTube.
And what sort of category they made content within.
Fair enough.
But it's not to say that Casey Neistat wasn't making videos before that. He rose to the top at that point with that style. That makes sense.
No, it does, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, the progression from home video to, I guess, planned videos and then into more personal videos and then into just extravagant videos.
Yes, yeah.
As the money starts flowing in, the wants to refine retention and thumbnail and make every little bit of the production super high quality in order to maximize the growth.
And almost needing to like one up every single time.
So that's kind of interesting. And now there's a bunch of, comments about like what the current era is going to be. Is going to be the authenticity era.
Yeah.
There's kind of the consensus here that people are coming to 2024 onwards is
AI era, work era.
Education and
storytelling,
evolution of English speaking YouTube. So it's up to the debate. This is not cut and dry by any means, but
this is like one guy's opinion and just what he's seen and what he's observed.
Yeah. And there's another tweet. I was going to call them tweets. Fuck it. Another tweet was kind of looking at how things are going to progress going forward, and it kind of is looking like there's a bunch of creators right now that are blowing up. Not even 12 months old, the channels that have no thumbnails that have been produced for the platform. It's just letting YouTube pick the thumbnail, which is arguably or is kind of unanimously rather bad practice for YouTube creators is to let YouTube pick the thumbnail for you. Usually you want to optimize and make sure
it's catchy.
You have, rule of thirds and you have one image and one piece of text and making it all pop and flow together. But there's kind of a new trend now that's going back to this experimental era where people aren't stressing about the thumbnails, aren't worrying about the title of their video, and are just going back to the really, it's kind of a mix between home video and vlog style and personality style, but without the need for like higher end production and lights and a studio in your spare room and that sort of thing. So it's almost like it's coming back full circle. We're going to go into a new era of, just like the other person was saying, I think it's going to be more of the authenticity and not the need to have a well-crafted story or script or production necessarily, which is kind of interesting, and it's refreshing, and it takes a lot of stress off the creator, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%, because you have again, I'm just keep referencing older episodes, but we talked about, YouTube gurus and who do you listen to and for the advice and all that kind of thing. And there's just so many almost like conflicting opinions on how to make content, how to get audiences, how to keep retention, and how to get people to click on your video more and all that kind of stuff. And then you have people that put no effort in whatsoever and like they have a very, very successful video. So it's more of one of those ones of just, you know, maybe just do what you want to do and just trust yourself, I guess. And then it's one of those ones as well, just being comfortable with having no views or just being comfortable with what it is that you're putting out. And I guess it just depends like why you're making content or why you're releasing videos. If you want to turn it into a business and make money from it at the end of the day, I guess, you know, follow the advice and follow the professionals and stuff. They might be able to help you. But if you just want to create and just want to put stuff out there into the ether of the world and see, you know, what hits or what doesn't hit or just have that, I guess, outlet, then yeah, just do what you want to do.
Yeah, so
follow your own path.
One of the biggest creators right now is Sam Sulek, which is he's like a bodybuilder and like he's ridiculously jacked. And this is just another post from Jay Alto that's saying, started posting on YouTube 8 months ago, uploads 30+ minute videos every day, gained 1.6 million subscribers with no shorts.
Which is usually unheard of, yeah.
No fancy thumbnails, no fancy edits. There's literally no text on the screen, no color grading, no thumbnail, no title. His titles are literally just bulk day, number 49. So there's
super basic.
People aren't going to like find him by searches or browse, but the thumbnail, obviously the thumbnails are interesting because it's just him looking
buff ass.
Mega swole.
Was it swole? Is that the term? Swole.
Yeah. Swole. Veins popping out. But he's like one of the biggest creators at the moment that's sort of bucking the trend of that Mr. Beastification of the platform where you need really thoughtful and kind of AI-ish thumbnails that aren't realistic. It's kind of throwing all that to the wayside and starting fresh.
Yeah, super basic thumbnails. Like lighting's not the best. It's not a good angle.
Yeah,
his face is covered.
The title is Fall Day Cut 34 Planet Fitness Cardio. And it'll just be him like working out and then talking through what he eats for that day. But then there's a bunch of other videos or channels that are doing similar style. This guy that was doing, I watched a few of his videos during the banking collapse a few months ago called Clear Value Tax, and his thumbnails are just the ones chosen from YouTube. And then it'll just have whatever the title is for the topic of the video, 5-minute videos. You know, he's getting 250,000 views for all of these relatively boring tax and financial type videos. Then they're just giving a bunch of other examples of people that are just bucking the trend and using everything that the creators on the platform have done in terms of building audience and having that vlog style element or niche element of the personality, but then stripping away all the production of the title and thumbnail. Yeah. Which is an interesting way to go about things. And it's working for a lot of them.
No, 100%. And it's one of those ones where I think there was always this thing of YouTube, right? Like if your thumbnail is reinforced within the first like 30 seconds to a minute, it's always a good thing. So maybe that's working for them. They're just using something that YouTube picks for them.
Well, this is what's interesting. It's as much as we think we know, I mean, this is just speaking from a creative perspective, might not be applicable to everyone listening, but you think you can game it to a degree if I put the right word in the right, or the right word in the right sentence in the right formation, and the title and the thumbnail link up, and I put enough keywords in, it's all going to like flow together and it's going to hit the algorithm. But that's us thinking we know better. When realistically, YouTube, if it has all these tools that we just mentioned earlier, and it can recognize words and stuff from the captions, then it's sort of like we should just be relying on YouTube more.
Yes.
So I think a lot of creators, if we just step back for a little bit and let YouTube do its thing a little bit more, it might be better off. It takes a lot of stress out of the equation as well. I know I've stressed out about videos in the past unnecessarily for no reason, overthinking certain things, but really goes to show that you just got to be yourself, do what you want to do, and not try and be some other creator, because it's clear that every couple of years there's a new wave or a new type of era of content that people are interested in, and therefore a bunch of new creators rise to the top. And I'm not saying you probably don't even want to be a top creator, because that comes with a lot of stress and things anyway.
I would, yeah.
But in terms of just staying true to yourself and not getting lost in the past, it's kind of interesting to see where things have been, where they're going, and to try and find your place within those moving parts.
It's a lot to just to think about and to manage and to juggle.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, which is why, like in that comments, people saying authenticity will be the next era, because maybe people are just not over it, but it's just, why think about it too much? Like at the end of the day, YouTube just want more people on their platform and just watching for longer. Like they don't really, as long as the video is not a bad video, but if you like it, then who cares?
Well, it's also probably something to do with the Sam Sulek guy as well, is some of them are boring, but I was just reading just then on that thread, it was basically like what hits for guys online now is shock content, whether it's shocking like something crazy or just unimaginable, like he's got a shocking physique, right?
Yes.
Or it could be something shocking, like dramatic in the world that's scary or terrifying, or shocking, like interesting, like a prank. Whereas females generally are more interested in like the lifestyle content.
Yes.
So it's shock and lifestyle, which is, I guess, kind of true in a sense, maybe a bit oversimplified. But yeah, it's just interesting to see where things are going and how YouTube's changing on both ends for the creator and the viewer. So anyway, if you like this episode and you are watching us on YouTube, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Perhaps there's a little animation as I just said.
That'd be cool.
Let us know if you see that. Otherwise, if you're listening on Spotify, you can watch the video version on Spotify as well.
Can do.
No animations though.
No. Maybe that will be next for Spotify. Who knows?
I don't know. They're too busy working on their audiobook catalog at the moment. And then obviously we're on Apple Podcasts as well. So leave a little 5-star rating and review there. It'd be much appreciated. Share it out with some friends. And next week we'll be back for episode 90. Another milestone.
Yeah, another milestone. And then
probably one that's actually worth noting as opposed to this one.
100 will be the one. That will be the big celebration.
All right.
Big
See you next week, guys.
Bye.